my reading wrap up for February because another month of 2018 has just flown by. What is happening? So I did manage to read my 3 books a month for February. However, I was a little bit over for the last book that I read that month. However, I'm blaming it on the fact that February only has 28 days and normally I am accustomed to 30 to 31 days. So it's February's fault that it took me 2 days longer to finish it. But anyways. The first book that I finally read this month was School for Good and Evil by Somen Chinani. Now the reason I say finally is because my friends gave me this about 2 years ago and it was just sitting on my shelf looking all beautiful and pretty like, and I was just sitting there looking at all the trailers of the books that are coming out in the series and just like, I have to read the first one. So finally I read The School for Good and Evil and it was really, really great. So School for Good and Evil is a very topsy-turvy read. It kind of got Alice in Wonderland vibes sometimes. It was really, really fun. And if you've got like a kooky imagination, you will love this book. So it's about these 2 girls, Sophie and Agatha, who are unlikely best friends because Sophie's, you know, pretty and sweet and like a princess, la la la, and Agatha is very much like lives in a graveyard and, you know, death to all. And basically in this town that they live in called Gavaldon, every 4 years, children are kidnapped. 2 children, a good child and an evil child. And they're kidnapped and taken to a school of good and evil, which I think is just so cool. And basically when they're taken, Sophie, who is the princess girl, is pretty much like, yeah, okay, I'll go to school for good, you go to school for evil, and everything will be perfect. But then, as it says on the back, things didn't quite go to Sophie's plan because sometimes the princess and the witch don't look like they do in fairy tales. And yes, it basically just gets really hectic and fun from there. I give The School for Good and Evil a 5 big fat stars, and I actually went out and got the next 2 books in the series almost as soon as I finished this one. So I'm really looking forward to it. The next one is called A World Without Princes, and then the last one is called The Last Ever After. The second book that I read was a highly anticipated one and it's by one of my favorite authors. It is Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. I really enjoyed this book. It was a very unique story of Wonder Woman, and there's a character called Alia Corellis and she is the Warbringer, so she brings about war in the world, and of course that's not good. So Diana kind of takes it upon herself to stop that, and it's like, how do they stop it though? And Alia doesn't actually want to be the Warbringer, it just happens to be what she is, so they form an unlikely bond, but they're not supposed to because, you know, Wonder Woman is an Amazon who should stay hidden and, you know, should not reveal herself to mere mortals, even if they are Warbringers. And there's twists and turns that you do not see coming. There were a couple of times throughout the book where I felt like the pacing was a bit slow. Most of those were during descriptions of like New York or like known places where I think it could have been much less. Like, of course, describe New York, describe the gray and drab and whatever you want to say, but I felt like sometimes it went on a little bit too long in terms of description. However, there was a reason for doing it, of course, because we're seeing it from someone's eyes who has never seen New York, so it did make sense for them to notice every little thing and to describe every little thing. So it did make sense, but I just felt like that kind of slowed it down for me. However, I still really enjoyed the story and had a great time reading Wonder Woman Warbringer, and I give it a 4.5 stars. And the last book that I read in February, which was the one that took me a little bit over, is another one that I'm like, finally read it. Not necessarily because it's been on my TBR for so long, but just because it's been out in the world for so long, and that is Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. So Northern Lights is the book that Golden Compass movie is based on, and I never watched Golden Compass because I was like, no, I'm gonna read the book. It's been years and I didn't read the book, but finally I read the book, so maybe tonight I'm gonna watch Golden Compass just to be like, yes! Well done for reading the book. But anyways, so I read the book, it's great, it is right up my street, which is what all my friends were telling me, and I was like, yes, I'll read it one day, I'll read it one day. So finally, I read it. It's a completely different take on our world and the way that people live in society. What I really liked about it is that the characters, like the people in the books, have things called daemons or demons. And they are different animals for each person, and when you're young it can change into all the different animals, and then as you grow and mature it becomes one solid animal that represents you. So I found that so cute and so unique. And basically there's this girl called Lyra who lives in a school and has one friend called Roger, and there are these people that they call the gobblers that are coming and kidnapping children away. And what happens is that basically Roger is one of the children that is taken away, and when that happens, madness ensues and Lyra ends up going on a quest to find him and bring him back, and along the way she discovers more about herself, more about the gobblers, more about what is happening in the world around her. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to spoil it if you're like me and haven't read it or watched the movie. but I will say that the Golden Compass does play a role in it, and I love how she uses it, like the intricacies of it, which you will of course find out when you read the book, and of course it does also have something to do with the Northern Lights, which was fantastic. So February was a great reading month, and I'm looking forward to diving into my March TBR now, which is a little bit late, but anyways, I'm looking forward to getting into those books and telling you all about them. And have you read any of the books that I read in February, or do you plan to read any of them? And if you did read them, what did you think of them? And that is all for today. Until next time, I'll see you. Bye!